And let's start it off with Afro Tech. First and foremost, shout out to Morgan and the
Shout out to
team
Morgan.
and the team at Afro Tech, man. They filled the need when that was there as far as bridging the gap between the black culture and technology. And they did this years ago, and it's just grown. So, like anything, you're gonna have critics. You're gonna have some level of hatred, right? But I think it's important to kind of talk about this topic because I've seen a lot of people talking about the hookups. Like, has it become a hookup thing? Has this become the new Freaknik? Um,
That's crazy to even put those two together.
yeah, it's disturbing. What do you? I have my thoughts about this. What do you think?
Two thoughts. The one on the conspiracy side, though, given the administration that we have, I believe there's a paid concerted effort for any movement that helps elevate black people to deem it uninvestable to go to. Like Afrotech been around for a long time, right? This is the first time I felt like I saw a paid campaign. People were treating it like it was a fucking freak off. I'm like, no, there were actual events, actual speakers, itinerary, run of show. Houston's a vibe city. Shout out to everybody in H-Town. Appreciate y'all. So, of course, we have some mingling, but if you ever been to a Salesforce conference or marketing conference, because some of you may not have been before, they're hooking up at the white conferences too. But I saw more conversation around that than I did the information that was shared. And I just worry at some point, either with the destruction of DEI in every major organization at scale, with Trump taking office, having House and Senate, MAGA boys are walking around prouder than ever. Who is paying some of the platforms to talk about them? And I never saw one keynote speaker get the same kind of attention that the hookup culture thing got. So that was my initial thought on it for sure. But what about you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as the hookup aspect of it, yeah, it's one of these things, right? Where if you have men, and Mike, you don't have to, you can do split screen, but if you have men and women together,
Yes. There may be some talking. It may happen.
this goes back to Adam and Eve, right? Like, I mean, this is just human nature, right? So,
Mhm.
like you said, I mean, and sometimes where there's not even women, they'll import women. Davos, Switzerland, which is Davos is the World Economic Forum, the most elite place to go for all of the billion. That's where all the billionaires go. We've been there 2 years in a row. And last year, the prostitution got so bad that I think New York Times wrote a whole article about it. Like there's not even
They
enough.
imported
They
champagne
import
and extras.
they import the work in from neighboring countries or other parts of Switzerland to come into Davos for entertainment purposes for these rich guys. So the UN General Assembly, same thing. I heard the same thing happens. The Republican
Allegedly.
National Convention, we're gonna talk about that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about anything that happens. Like that's why like sometimes people just somebody said something in the comments that was very insightful. It was like one thing that y'all gonna do is complain because
Big facts.
that's the one
Mhm.
consistent thing that the culture carries is a level of entitlement and a level of complaints that I've never seen before. People hook up at conferences, guys.
It's been happening since the beginning
Like
of
I don't
business
understand.
conferences.
Like at
Yep.
white conferences, it happens.
Yep.
At the Mexican conference, like so just to try to tarnish somebody's brand for entertainment purposes. Like, so you guys don't understand what you're doing. When I say you guys, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking about the people that take to Twitter and to repost it.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is actually you're actually helping and tarnishing a brand. We already have less than 1% in representation in tech, right?
For sure.
So when corporations see that, oh, they're not even united within their own ecosystem, they tear
Let me
down
not
their own. Why would I support this? Why
why
would
would I
you
put money here?
why would I put money here? Why would I? So that's what I'm saying. Like you think everything is a joke, and you think everything is just this meme based culture that we live in. It's like, oh, it's just
Mhm.
for shits and giggles, but you don't understand that this is a system that's actually employing a lot of people are actually getting employed by this, right? I know because we run festivals, so I understand how this thing works. It's a year-round operation. People are getting employed. People are getting help. Budgets are being used from different corporations, and you're jeopardizing that for no reason, right? It's not like you're not saying like, oh, they swindled me, oh, they scammed me out my money, da 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 da. Like you saying like, oh, it's just hookups. Like this is freakness. It's not serious. Like at some point in time, just shut up. Even if that's how you feel, why you need to vocally express that? Because you're hurting you're hurting black people by doing that, right? And you don't think
And
about
if
it like
you were
that.
fucking that weekend, you wouldn't be complaining. And I saw a lot of y'all complaining about, oh, that's all they doing. If you were getting some, you would have shut up.
Yeah, just
Truth be told,
sometimes.
you didn't go to the conference all day. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I want to make reaction videos and do all this shit. Like, yo, everything don't need to be that. Like, and the only reason why we even talking about it is because of that message, right? Like, I wouldn't even want to talk about this, but it's important to talk about it because we have to. It's a bigger issue than even Afro Tech. Like, y'all level of complaints about shit that is not even worth complaining about, right? Is disturbing because it's like you hold black people to such a low standard, right? And you hold white people to such a high standard until you actually get and you see, oh, this is the same fuckery at white people. It's even worse.
At Tech Crunch.
It's even worse.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, stop doing that, man. Like, I really want to just put that out there. Stop doing that because you don't realize the damage that you're doing. It's hurtful. It's not helpful for sure. And this is why, in a lot of regards, we could talk about Trump. We're gonna talk about, but we still are our worst enemy.
You think so?
In a lot of regards, because it's like if you're not a united force, you can't expect help from somebody else, right? It's like your comrades, like you growing up, right? It's like if you're in a gang, right? If you're on the other side of that gang, you're not expecting that other side of that other gang to help you. But don't kill me from within my own gang. Damn, I'm really fucked. Then I'm really fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not expecting you to help because you've always been an opposition from the beginning. But if we locked in arms and I got to fight with the people to the right and to the left of me,
which happens a lot.
I mean, like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
And I think tech is too important. And I mean, in terms of employment, less than 1%. But if you look at angel and venture capital, half of 1% of capital disperses from us. Like, I don't know enough black people that can raise a $300-400 million round to invest in some of these companies that are controlling the world. I just think that asset of Afro Tech is too important to try and defame, especially like because I've seen it when investing and seeing the people that were placed here to tear that movement down. We can't do it in tech. But if you think this is happening by accident and this narrative got painted overnight by accident, you'd be sadly mistaken. It's one of the best rollouts I've seen this year. So please be careful because at some point, if she gets upset or the money dries up and they make fucking Latino tech, don't be upset.
Don't be upset. And like you said, I mean, they're already talking about diversity, DEI must die. And you already see that we're going to talk about next the cabinet position. So it's like they have a full-fledged onslaught on eradicating any level of black success or any level of upward mobility for black people. And when you do things like this publicly, you just help that agenda. If you have anything can be approved, but why not just have a conversation? Why not just submit email? Why not, like, why we gotta do everything publicly? If you feel like, okay, there's some things that I think you can improve upon, like sometimes we just gotta have conversations behind closed doors, right? Like we don't gotta publicly try to embarrass people or try to publicly just tear shit down because when we don't have anything, we'd be the first ones to complain.
Yeah. And if you are going to look for a husband or a wife or an extra, someplace like Afro Tech is not a bad place to vet. And look, if you don't think people haven't hooked up at Tech Crunch conferences and A16Z conferences back in the day, sadly mistaken. And Houston is a shout to A-Life who put on all the events that weekend. But we keep telling you, even with InvestFest, and I sent it to Rashad as soon as I saw it, every conference has entertainment.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. That's another thing I want to talk about too. I want to kind of just break this down, right, to understand, because people don't fully understand how these things work. So they're like, okay, oh damn, this should turn into a after parties and people handing out flyers for parties. I thought this was about tech. All right, let me fully explain this to you. There's a nightlife is an industry for a reason, right? So
Yes.
whenever you have large groups of people that gather, that traditionally is beneficial for nightlife because those people eat at restaurants, those people go to
Yes.
bars, and guess what? Those people stay up at night
Go to
and party
lounges.
too. This happens at the highest level possible. Like I said, in Davos, you know where some of the best networking happens at nighttime. People don't go to sleep till everybody's up at night. They go
5, 6 in the morning, right?
and the party, Google has a party, Nvidia
Yep.
has a party, Facebook has a party. There's parties. Yeah, it might not be a traditional club hip hop type, but once again, why is that any different? That's because you still look at yourself as an inferior. Because it's like you don't look at a black club the same as a white party. It's the same thing. People are drinking.
Yeah.
They might not have sparkles on their bottles, but they doing the same shit. They drinking, they
Yeah.
listening to music, and they talking to girls, and they talking to each other, and that's the vibe. So it's
Yep.
like, stop saying that. The Grammys, the biggest
After
thing with the
party, like,
Grammys is the after party. Clyde Davis
yeah,
had the
Clive
biggest
Davis
after
party.
party for 20 years. A white
Yep.
executive. People fucking beg to try to get in his party, right? The Super Bowl, the biggest aspect. The
Party.
game is only a couple of hours. There's parties from Wednesday to Monday of
What a
Super
real
Bowl weekend.
networking deal if you're done.
Like
Maximum party, big part of like
NBA All-Star week. Like I just don't understand. Like just so quick to criticize something, and if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Why would there not be parties? That's part of it. That's part of the ecosystem, and that's actually helpful and beneficial because people are making money from that. There's
yes.
people that's making money from that. So any event that you have, party nightlife is a major part of that, an extension of that.
And I'm gonna be real, and I don't mean to be mean, but a lot of y'all who say that why do you have parties, you're not that fucking dedicated to be studying that night. How do I know? Because the other 2 years or 3 years that I did Invest Fest was I was in the house. I'm messaging y'all on IG and y'all are fucking out. Y'all not dedicated like that to put in 12. I know everybody during the day acts like they're grinding. No, you're not. Tusi Shakur, y'all be in that party and y'all ass off.
Tusi Shakur.
Low key. Like, let's not act like everybody's so diligent and looking at P ratios all day and all night. No, just me. Come on. But even in that, to be better at the shows, all the best ideas I got to put on stage came from concerts and going to parties. Come on.
And
Stop criticizing, because if Afro Tech goes away, what is your pathway in? Even the Democratic or liberal tech bros don't want a lot of us in.
yeah.
Truth be told, you think that with this AI explosion and chip explosion, they want us coming in and taking over industry and having IP? No, we let y'all have podcasts, and now we're gonna blow that shit up and find a way to destroy that because y'all start sharing too much information, and so let's fuck up this. But while podcasting was hot in 2020, no one was talking about AI and quantum computing. Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
But what do we know?